My name is Cathy Jordan and I'm the lead vocalist and bodhrán player with Dervish from Ireland. We play traditional Irish music. We started in 1989, which is a long time ago now. It's coming up on the 40-year mark. I started maybe in 91, a couple of years later. We play music from the west of Ireland mostly, and songs and repertoire from the archives and from old musicians that passed on, that left a legacy of tunes behind them. So we like to dig in the well of tradition and keep that side of things going. The instruments we have in the band, I suppose the main core, the fiddle, flute and accordion, and they form the nucleus of the band, and they're the kind of engine room of the tunes, and play high octane, highly ornamented, wild Sligo style music, Sligo Leitrim style, which is fast, furious, highly ornamented, as I say, lots of and then we're backing instruments of guitar, bouzouki and mandola, and they, like, for years in Ireland up until the 60s, there was no guitars and mandolas. It was just the straight tunes, and the tunes would be played in unison. There'd be no harmonies within that, really. And this development of bringing the guitars and bouzoukis in just revolutionised. It was like the folk revival of Irish music in Ireland. So we follow that line, that generational line, with that, following from, say, the Bothy band, who followed Ceoltóirí Cúlin, and then into Planxty, and so chords and rhythms that back the tunes and make it more dynamic and, you know, more exciting, and, you know. So yeah, so Brian plays the mandola. Tony Byrne is with us this weekend. He plays the guitar. He's an amazing guitar player from Dublin. Shane Mitchell plays the accordion. Tom Morrow is on the fiddle, and Liam Kelly's on the flute. And I'm the vocalist, and I play the Irish drum, which is the bodhrán, you know, which has particular sound of its own that's very typical. There's great spirit in traditional Irish music. There's fun, and there's energy, and there's what we call crack. It's not cocaine. It's the fun. It's you know, it's the story. It's the essence. It's filled with that spirit, I suppose, and the tunes have one dimension, you know, with energy and excitement and joy and all of that, and then the songs have so much soul and sometimes darkness and sadness and history of, you know, stories of people who weren't so fortunate as the rest of us. And they say in Irish music that there's three elements that it contains, and there are three little Irish words called gultry, gantry and suantry. And gultry means it's so sad it makes you want to cry. So that would be the songs and the laments and the slow airs. Gantry, it's so joyous and exciting and, you know, energetic, it makes you want to dance. And suantry, it's so soothing and calming that it makes you want to sleep. So in an entire gig or a session that we will play, more often than not, all those three elements are present in the evening. So it's a kind of an emotional roller coaster. You're never in one mood for too long, you know, and it's great that it has all those elements, because it allows those sad songs and those sad emotions to be experienced, knowing that you're going to have another joyous experience soon, so you're safe. You know, you're not going to stay there in that state. It's kind of like a, you know, a shamanistic kind of journey through an evening with music as the base, and the emotions of the tunes that have been passed on and the songs. I feel that all the time, you know, because it was my parents that taught me and gave me a love for it. So I feel them when I sing, and my aunts and uncles, and the same with the lads, old guys that used to play them the tunes. And you feel a responsibility. You're holding something, you know. You're holding memories, and you're holding stories, and you're holding emotions and history. And it's an important thing to, you know, mind the flame and pass it on. The Curragh Wrens, yeah, it's one of our sad stories. So many, you know, sad things that happened, but we're a really resilient people and nation, and, you know, we have all that. It's a melancholy underneath, but our resilience is in the keep having fun wherever you can, you know. But it doesn't take much to get us crying. I'm actually emotional right now talking about it. You know, it's a kind of a thin line between the absolute hilarity and crack and fun and all that, and the weepy kind of side of things, you know, the more serious, heartbreaking stuff, you know. I think we've inherited that kind of melancholy through our DNA, and, you know, through the sufferings of those that went before us, and famine and exile and occupation and all of that, you know. Well, it was a record company in America that wanted to emulate the Great American Songbook and do a Great Irish Songbook. So we set about putting an album together with guests, and it's amazing when you ask the question of artists who would like to sing an Irish song. It's amazing all the people that would, you know, want to, you know. So we had an amazing uptake for that album. We had Vince Gill and Steve Earle and Imelda May and Jamie Johnson and who else was on it? Many artists anyway. David Gray, of course. So many that I suppose they wouldn't have an opportunity to sing an Irish song, even though they all know one, you know. So this project gave them that kind of avenue to have somewhere to put a song like that. So it took a long time, because you're dealing with our own schedules as well as all the artists' schedules. But we brought it out, and it was kind of scuppered from the minute we brought it out. Lockdown happened, you know, so we didn't get to do the big ramp of gigs that we would have liked to have done, but we did do a lot at the same time after lockdown, and it was great. And now we're working on Songbook 2, which has more contemporary songs, Irish writers that, you know, of the last 50 years, we'll say, rather than going back into the tradition that'll always be there, kind of focusing on the writers now and the songs that might be sung in 100 years that have been written now, you know. So, yeah, it's fun to do. There's so many great writers in Ireland at the moment. It's inspiring, the amount of musicians and writers and creatives there are in Ireland. It's extraordinary, and I think we do a good job of incubating the music and the art, and I think we're still very close to nature and to our heart and soul and, you know, essence of life kind of thing, you know, and it comes out in the music and the art.